Hello students. Today's topic is the next chapter of Sale of Goods Act, which is rights of unpaid seller. So before we understand what are the rights of unpaid seller, we need to understand why this kind of situation comes, that we need to discuss about the rights of an unpaid seller and who actually is an unpaid seller. Now let me take one example. You as a buyer have purchased the goods, you have taken away the goods, or the goods ownership in goods have got transferred in your name as buyer, but you are not paying for the goods, paying for the price of the goods. Now in this case the buyer has committed a breach. So what are the remedies for breach available with this unpaid seller who was not paid his due price? So in this case, different kinds of remedies will be discussed which are available as per Sale of Goods Act. And before we understand what rights are available to this unpaid seller, we need to first of all understand who is an unpaid seller. So on the face of it, it appears unpaid seller is a simple word. It means a seller who is unpaid. But no, it has a technical definition given under section 45 of the Act, which has three sub-clauses. The first clause says a seller will be said to be an unpaid seller if he has not been given whole of the price of the goods, and he will remain to be called an unpaid seller even if a small part of the price was not paid to him. He was paid the price but full price was not paid to him. Then also as per section 45 he will be regarded as an unpaid seller. A second situation can be, in lieu of the price, when the goods were bought, buyer has given you a negotiable instrument. Either a bill of exchange or a promissory note or a check was given to you for payment. And all those negotiable instruments, whichever was given to you, they have got dishonored. That also signifies that the price will not be received because the instrument has got dishonored. A third can be, goods were exclusively sold on credit and the period of credit has expired, like it was 3 months period was given for payment and that 3 months period has expired and buyer has still not given you the price. So in all these three situations you will be said to be an unpaid seller. And there is a clarification in this regard which says that in case the buyer has offered price to the seller but seller has refused to accept the price for any reason, then we cannot say that he is an unpaid seller, because now in this case he has refused to receive the price, and also in such a situation he will not be able to claim the price later on. So this was about the definition of an unpaid seller. The question is, if you are an unpaid seller, then what are the remedies available to you? So you are available with two categories of rights. So the rights of unpaid seller have been categorized into two subcategories. First is right against the goods and then rights against the buyer. Right against the goods will be available if seller, besides being unpaid seller, he also was still having the possession of the goods. That means the ownership of the goods may or may not have got transferred to the buyer, but the price was to be paid, price has not been paid, and goods are also still lying in the custody of the seller. Then what rights are available? So these rights are further subclassified into rights when property in goods has transferred or when property in goods has not yet transferred. Property, I hope you understand it, it means ownership right of the goods. And further these rights are categorized into subcategories. The second set of right available to the unpaid seller is against the buyer personally. So it can be, a situation can be there in which case the goods were not anymore in the custody of the seller. Then he will not be able to use these rights against the goods. In that case, the second set of right will be available to that unpaid seller for recovery of his price, that is the right against the buyer personally. So these rights further are classified into four categories. So one by one we are going to discuss all these rights individually. So first is the rights of unpaid seller against the goods. And further in, it has first category when the property has passed to the buyer. The property means the ownership of the goods has been transferred to the buyer. So in that case, three rights are available. First one is right of lien. Right of lien is covered under section 47 to 49 of the Sale of Goods Act. Lien you already know about lien. We have discussed at length about this lien in the chapter of bailment and pledge. So once again for your revision, lien means right to retain possession of the goods. Lien is a right in which case a person can refuse to deliver the goods to the buyer because he has not paid the price. And unless he pays the price, you have right to retain the possession and not to deliver the goods, which although belong to buyer now, because buyer is owner, because property has passed on to the buyer, but because price has not been tendered or paid, tendered means has not been even offered, in that case you can use this right of lien. And this right of lien can be used when the price was not paid to you, it was unpaid. This right of lien can also be used in case the goods were sold on credit. The goods were sold on credit, but still the time of credit period has not expired. You were supposed to make payment 3 months hence. 3 months have not yet expired, but you have come to know that the buyer has become insolvent. So in case the buyer has become insolvent, you can straight away use the right of lien, because there is no chance that you will be able to recover your price. And this right of lien can only be used for recovery of the price of the goods. In case in addition to the price of the goods, some additional expenses like freight, insurance, transportation, loading, unloading charges, etc. are also pending, you cannot use the right of lien for those. You only can use this right of lien for the price of the goods which was unpaid. And also it is very important to understand that this right of lien is available only in case possession of the goods is with the seller, because lien is a possessory right. So long as you have possession, you can retain possession. In case you don't have possession, there is no question of retaining that possession. So it is said that if possession is lost, lien is lost. Then how long you are going to use this right of lien? How long you are going to retain these goods with you? So there is a time period. There is no time period as per the law, but when is this lien going to get terminated? So this right of lien will be said to be terminated or said to be lost by the seller in case any of these four options happen. First, if the seller delivers the goods to the carrier. Carrier means any transporter, shipper or airway authority or railway authority or any truck owner through which you are going to deliver the goods. So if you have delivered the goods to any of these carriers, that means your possession has been lost by you. So that means lien is over now. Second, if you have delivered the goods to the buyer himself, price has not been paid, but you have delivered the goods to the buyer or buyer's agent, etc., then also there is no question of having lien anymore, because possession has been lost. Or it can be by waiver. Waiver can be when the seller has himself foregone his right of using the lien. So foregoing the right of lien or waiver of the right of lien means that you could have retained the goods, but you have not done that. So this may happen when there may be any express or any implied waiver. Express waiver means when already in the terms of agreement it was mentioned that in no case can the seller will be able to use the right of lien. Or implied waiver may be price was not paid, the seller could have retained the goods and refused to deliver the goods to the buyer, but he allowed the buyer some additional time to pay for the goods, pay for the price of the goods. So this extension of the time implies that you are not using the lien right now, you have waived the right of lien. And fourthly, in case buyer gives you the price or he offers you the price, then obviously lien has to end, because lien was being used only to get the price from the buyer. Second right is right of stoppage of goods in transit. So it can happen that goods are no more in the custody of the seller and he got to know that the negotiable instrument he got has been dishonored, or he gets to know that the time period of credit has expired but price has not been given by the buyer. So in that case, can he also use the right when the possession of the goods has already gone into the hands of the carrier? So like we have seen there, if the goods were delivered to carrier, the right of lien has terminated. The right of lien has terminated in this case. So if the right of lien has terminated, then what else is available with you? Then you are available with the right of stoppage of goods in transit. Now goods are with the carrier. Why are these goods with the carrier? So as to deliver these goods to the buyer. So when the goods were in transit, they have not yet reached the hands of buyer, and the seller comes to know that the buyer has become insolvent. So only and only if you are an unpaid seller and your buyer without paying the price has become insolvent, can you use the right of stoppage of goods in transit. So this right will be available if these 4 conditions are fulfilled. First, you are an unpaid seller as per section 45 definition. Second, the buyer is insolvent now. Thirdly, the goods property has already been passed to the buyer. And fourthly, seller has transmitted the goods to the carrier but buyer has not yet acquired the goods. That means goods are in the custody of independent carrier like railways, shipping company, etc. So like in this case, this kind of situation happened in this case, Beadle versus Clark. So what happens, before I explain you this case, what happens in this situation when there is a right of stoppage of goods in transit, that to exercise the stoppage of goods in transit right, the seller has to take the possession from the carrier. Because he is not getting the price, he can ask the carrier to stop the goods and to give the goods back to him. So this can be done by the seller after giving a notice to the carrier about the same, or he can himself go there and collect the goods back from the carrier. So this is how he can exercise this right, and this right will be available in case the carrier is an independent person. If that carrier was seller's own person, seller has his own trucks, his own truck drivers, and they were having the custody of the goods when the buyer became insolvent, then there is no question of stoppage in transit, because now that transporter is your own person. So in that case, it is the goods in the possession of that carrier means they are in possession of you only, because he is your person only. Second situation, in case that carrier was buyer's agent, buyer has sent a person to collect the goods from you and the goods were in the custody of that person, that intermediary who was buyer's representative. Can in that case also we can say that the goods are in the hands of carrier? No. Now that person is buyer's agent. That means custody in the hands of buyer or his agent is one and the same thing. Then also you cannot use the right of lien or use the right of stoppage in transit. So means the stoppage in transit right is available only if this intermediary transporter is an independent person. He is neither seller's man nor buyer's man. So now see in this case, Beadle versus Clark, there was Mr. X who sold the goods and the goods were to be delivered to Mr. Y at Melbourne. But to reach the goods at Melbourne, the goods were to be taken to London first of all by railways, and then from there they were to be shipped to Melbourne. And in between, Mr. Y became insolvent without paying the price to the seller. So to use his right of stoppage in transit, seller gave notice to the railway company to stop the goods in transit and to give the goods back to him. But by the time they got this notice, it was too late. The goods have already been delivered to the ship owner, because from London the goods were to be shipped to Melbourne. So goods were now in the hands of ship owner, and the ship owner was also an intermediary. He was also the second carrier. And by the time this notice got in the hands of this ship owner, the goods have reached at the port of destination. And because the buyer has become insolvent, now being insolvent, all his rights were in the hands of official receiver. You know, insolvent person's rights are now vesting in the official receiver. So official receiver reached there at the port of destination, and he tried to collect the goods from the ship owner, but it was held because the ship owner has been successfully intimated to stop the goods in transit because the buyer was insolvent. So it was a successful stoppage in transit, and the ship owner was right in case he refuses to hand over these goods to the official receiver of the insolvent buyer who has not paid for the price of the goods. Then is duration of transit. Now how long is this transit going on? Transit means when goods are neither in the hands of seller nor they have reached the hands of buyer. They are in between, they are in the transit. And in the transit does not mean that goods are in the movement. They may be lying somewhere, they may be lying stable somewhere, but they have not reached the hands of buyer. Now just like lien, when will this transit come to an end? This transit will also come to an end if on reaching the place of buyer, the goods were delivered to the buyer, or before reaching the place of buyer, in between buyer has reached the carrier and he has got the delivery of the goods from that carrier. Then also the transit is ending. Or thirdly, goods have reached the buyer's place, but buyer has not got the possession of the goods from the carrier, but the carrier has informed the buyer that the goods are here and you can come and collect. So this acknowledgement to the buyer about the arrival of the goods and asking him to collect the goods also means that transit is now over. Or fourthly, when buyer has come to collect the goods and the carrier wrongfully refuses to hand over the goods. So in that case, in case he would not have wrongfully refused to hand over the goods, obviously buyer would have taken the goods. So in all these cases, buyer has got the custody or possession of the goods. That means transit is over, because transit means goods are on the way with the carrier and have not reached the buyer. So that means now because goods have reached the buyer, so you cannot use the right of stoppage in transit. So how this stoppage in transit right is helping the unpaid seller? That unpaid seller, by asking the goods to stop in transit, he can regain the possession of the goods from the carrier, because price of the goods was not paid to him. So these goods can be taken back by him, although the ownership of goods has passed to the buyer already, but since price was not paid, so this can be done. So this was under section 50 to 52. Third right available in case of unpaid seller against the goods will be under section 54, right to resell. Now right to resell is when you have either got the right of lien and you have retained the possession of the goods with you, or the seller has regained the possession of the goods by exercising the right of stoppage in transit. In the both these cases, you have got your goods back, but in that case, just keeping the goods back with you will not help you in recovering your price unpaid. So to recover your price which was not paid by the buyer, you are trying to pressurize him by right of lien or right of stoppage in transit, that look, I have not given you the goods, although the goods are in your ownership, now you have to come and you have to pay for the price. But in case the buyer is not paying for the price, then you can simply resell the goods to somebody else and yourself you can recover your price. So how can you use this right of resale? First, when the goods are of perishable nature, then without even informing this buyer, you can straight away sell the goods, because they are perishable. If you don't resell, they will be perishing, and buyer is not taking any action to recover the goods or paying for the price. So you go sell your goods and get your price back. Second is, in case goods are not perishable and you have exercised right of lien or right of stoppage in transit, and then you are trying to wait for the buyer to come and pay for the price, but he is not doing it. So now you can simply give a notice to the buyer that look, I am giving you this much period now, come and give me my price, otherwise I am going to resell the goods. So if after the expiry of this extended time period, or if no time period was specified, within reasonable time, if buyer still is not paying for the goods, you as unpaid seller has right to resell the goods and to recover your price. Third, the seller can also straight away sell the goods to recover his price. In case there was a clause mentioned in the agreement already that in case of default, without giving any notice, the seller can resell the goods at any point of time. So in that case, you need not even give the notice of this. Now in this case, when you are reselling the goods, you may be reselling the goods at a profit or at a loss. So in this case, if there is a profit on resale, that means the price that you were going to recover from the first buyer was less, and from new buyer you have got more price. So this profit all belongs to seller. But in case you sold the goods at a loss, so this loss of profit, you can get it compensated from the buyer, because it was because of buyer's default that you have to suffer this loss. But in case seller has not intimated the buyer about this resale, and without intimating him, he has resold the goods and he has suffered losses, then he will not be able to claim any damages from the buyer. And also in this case, if you have earned a profit, then profit will have to be handed over to the buyer, because he was never intimated. You have to intimate him to be able to resell the goods as per section 51. So this was the first set of right against goods when property has passed. In case the property in the goods has not yet passed, then also you can use this right. This right is right of withholding delivery. The right of withholding delivery is same as right of lien, only the name is changing. When the property has transferred, it is right of lien. When property has not transferred, it is right of withholding delivery, means retaining delivery of the goods with yourself only. Now second category, main category of rights of unpaid seller is against the buyer personally. Now in case possession of the goods is neither with the seller nor with the carrier, so you cannot retain the goods, you cannot regain the goods, but the price is not paid. So what else you can do in this case is, you can use all these remedies to be discussed now. First, section 55, suit for price. You don't have buyer, you don't have the goods with you, so you simply file a legal suit against the buyer to recover your price, and the court will order for the payment of price to the buyer. Second is suit for interest. Now after fighting this case, you have recovered the price, but in this case price has been recovered. So in case you have filed a suit for recovery of the price, but this recovery of price from this legal suit has taken a lot of time, and there is a delay in recovery of the price. So because of this delayed recovery of the price, you can also recover the interest on delayed payment. So court will allow you to also recover the interest, and interest will be from the actual due date of payment of the price to the date of actual receipt of price as per court's order. Third is suit for damages for non-acceptance. So sometimes it happens that buyer has refused to accept the goods. Goods are all well and good, but you have refused to accept the goods and pay for the goods also. So in that case, if he is not accepting the goods and he is also not paying for the goods, so obviously your money which is invested in those goods, that has got blocked and you are suffering the losses. So these losses are your damages. So you can also sue the buyer for recovery of these damages, because now you will have to look for new buyers, you will have to advertise, sale promotion will be done, or a new buyer will be sought, and then that new buyer may pay you the same price, may pay you the less price. So in that case you will be suffering some losses or some expenses. So all these losses will also be recovered by filing a suit against the buyer. So this can also happen. And how you are going to recover these damages? So measure of these damages will be, what was the contract price agreed with the first buyer and what is the price now available in the market. So the difference between the price, these are your damages. And you know about these damages as we have discussed that in the topic of Contract Act, remedies for breach of contract. Another remedy available against the buyer personally is suit for repudiation of the contract before due date. In case the due date has not come for the price, but beforehand the buyer has refused either to pay for the goods or to take delivery of the goods. So in that case, there is a prior intimation about the breach of the contract by the buyer. Now what can the seller do here? Seller may, without waiting for the actual due date, he can straightaway take a legal action for recovery of his damages from the buyer immediately by cancelling the contract, or he may still like to wait for the actual due date and wait that buyer may perform his contract, although right now he is saying he will not be doing this performance of the contract, but still you can wait for the actual due date, and then at that actual due date you can take action against the buyer. In both these cases you will be given the damages for this repudiation of the contract by the buyer before due date. This is also called anticipatory breach of contract. If you remember, in remedies for breach of contract we have discussed the topic breach of contract and anticipatory breach of contract. Last topic here is effect of subsale or pledge on the rights of unpaid seller. That is, in case seller is unpaid, buyer had got the possession of the goods and buyer has further resold the goods to somebody else, or buyer has pledged the goods with somebody else, then the rights of unpaid seller about this filing a suit for recovery of price, damages, interest, that right will not be affected. That will not be bothered because of this reason that the goods have been further sold or pledged by the buyer. But in case the seller has given consent for this subsale or further sale or pledge by the buyer despite being an unpaid seller, then he will not be able to use these rights because he has given consent for the same. So this was about the rights of the unpaid seller. This question can come in two forms. Either they may ask you what are the remedies available in case of breach of contract by buyer, or they may ask you what are the rights available to an unpaid seller. It means one and the same thing. Also, in between there is a topic of difference between right of lien and right of stoppage in transit. That topic of difference you can do yourself based on understanding of the topics which I have just taught you. Thank you.